Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Real Talk with Mary Grace. You are watching Mary Grace Media. We are live on YouTube, Clout Hub, and Facebook. And this is Monday, the 8th of February, 2021. As you come in, please say hello and please share this. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell so that you will get notifications. Set your watch and your alarm so that you don't miss my shows. I come on at 5 o'clock Eastern most days. I will be live this week, I believe, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. There may be a Wednesday show. I'm still trying to work through some scheduling issues. So thank you, everybody, for being here. It's good to see you. And it's pretty cold here in my neck of the woods. I don't know about where you are. And I think it's cold all over the East Coast. And so we're just kind of pushing through to spring. I saw some bluebirds yesterday, and that was kind of exciting. So I think they're anticipating good things to come, as am I. And so, again, as you come in, please share this. If you're on Facebook, please share it to groups. It's very interesting because I have a lot of people sharing to groups, and Facebook doesn't seem to like that. So, if you're in a group, come back another day and share my post to groups that you belong to, if you don't mind, because they're doing a lot of suppression right now, and they don't want people to see what I'm sharing and what I'm talking about because I'm bringing you good news. And that is something that they don't like. Unfortunately, the people who are controlling algorithms and making decisions about what people can hear think that speech they hate should be called hate speech. And so even when people have good news, they call it hate speech when it doesn't align with what they think people should be saying. And so here we are, and I'm going to bring you some good news. And before I start, I just wanted to make sure that people know that you can still get in on the superfoods transformation that we're doing. I've had a lot of people who are interested. I am doing a drawing this week, and I'm I'm doing a drawing for people to win free superfoods, and I am extending that to Thursday of this week. So if you place your order according to the email that I sent out, and you follow the instructions and let me know that you did it, then you can be entered into the drawing. So it's kind of a big deal. And make sure that you get in touch with me. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you want to have a voucher to save over $100 on your superfoods 30-day transformation, that's what the drawing is when you buy that and you're going to participate in that. If you want to have a voucher, please email me info@marygracemedia.com. Why do you want superfoods? Well, if you have brain fog, if you have fatigue, if you have inflammation, if you're having trouble sleeping, if you want to lose weight, if you need to put on muscle, um, there's a good chance that you have some kind of imbalance and that you want to get much higher quality organic foods into your body. And if you've ever tried to eat all organic and make superfood salads and things like that, you know it's a lot of work. This is really one of the easiest things I've ever done. And getting the superfoods into my body really transformed my life. And so I'm on a mission to make sure as many people as possible can get the superfoods. So please write to me, info@marygracemedia.com. If I have mods on on YouTube and Facebook, if you could put that email address in the chat, that would be great. And remember, as you're coming back, please make sure that when you come back to watch a replay, that you interact in the comments as well, because that helps make sure that my broadcasts get up into the algorithm. Okay. So if you're just one of those people that listens in the background, if you could make comments from time to time, that would be very helpful. I know people are listening while they're multitasking. I get that. I do it all the time. Yeah. Joyce, if you have a direct question, please email me info@marygracemedia.com and I can clear up any questions you have about that. Okay. And okay, so we're gonna move on. I've got some good news, and I think we have good things coming. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what I see happening in the news and what I see happening and just sort of the rhetoric that's being pushed out that's being pushed out. People who are conservatives who value um, faith and family and freedom and free speech and all of these things. They're being labeled as domestic terrorists and insurgents and all of this. And you've seen that, and it's very disheartening. And a lot of people ask the question, why did the president want people to come to Washington D.C. on the 6th of January? And what was the point of having people there? And that's a good question. And I think it would be very easy to get in the weeds and to just to think, okay, well, he didn't really come through. There wasn't a boom. He didn't storm. He didn't come through with a big revelation. There wasn't anything dropped that was revelatory that changed the situation. He didn't drop any big videos about voter fraud or anything like that, and that's true. And so, what I wanted to talk about though is something important, even more important than that. And I think it will shed some light on what we're hearing now, and on the level of panic that we've seen out of Washington D.C., out of the political elites. If you haven't been paying attention, if you or even if you have, you've probably noticed that the political class that has made themselves very comfortable in Washington D.C. and in the positions of power throughout this country have come to a place where they fancy themselves on a higher level than the common people. And they were very, very upset during during what happened on January 6th. Not because I don't think it was really because they were afraid. They'll say that they were, but I think it's actually because the people dared to set foot in what they had started to think of, or what they really think of as their place. That those hallowed halls and telephone and floor tile belongs to you by your tax dollars. I'm getting a message here. Equipment. And so I'm going to try to keep talking here. I apologize. This is an issue that point while running three businesses at the same time, and a family. So I don't think it's censorship right now. I think it's actually just technical. And so I'm going to do the best I can to get through a show, but just please pray so that I have the time at some point to deal with what has to be dealt with, or to get new equipment to deal with the lagging or whatever it is. Okay. So just pray for open airwaves right now, no lagging, no nothing. Okay. So let me finish what I was trying to say. That is that the people who have gotten in the positions of power in Washington D.C. have really fancy themselves the elites, because they've turned into the political elites. There are people who have been there longer than some of you have been alive, and that just shouldn't be. That's not the way it was designed to be. And they think of that as a sacred place that belongs to them. And further to the point is that there are a lot of things that have happened and that continue to happen in those halls, and that are a lot of things that they support, and a lot of laws that are passed that actually blaspheme the name of God. Laws they have passed have really grieved God and grieved the Holy Spirit. And so practiced things that are, when the people set foot into Washington, D.C., and when they walked into the Capitol, which, by the way, the president didn't tell them to do that. It was actually breached by people who were not part of our group. And then the people who walked in were there because they truly, honestly thought the Capitol was open for the most part. I would say 98% of the people who support President Trump were in that category. And so what I think happened that day, I think that the reason that the politicians were so offended is because the people, especially the believers, the Christians, came into that building and onto those grounds carrying the spirit of the living God. And that is offensive to anybody who is not. That is offensive to anybody who has blasphemed the name of God, who has grieved the Holy Spirit. And many, many, many of those people who are in the positions of power, the ones who have been the most vocal in labeling you and me as insurgents, those are the people who have the most to hide. And that is what I have, that's what I've seen about this. And so the reason, one of the reasons that I believe President Trump asked the people to be in Washington, D.C., was really because he knows the power of prayer, and he knows the power of the Holy Spirit living in the people of God. And so I think it's important that you understand that. And so for people who are feeling disheartened, who are thinking, why were we there? Why did we go? What was the result? Well, I can tell you in the words of the Lord, who actually said this to Joshua, which is that every place that your foot steps is yours. And and I believe that a part of the reason that the people of God were summoned to Washington, D.C. on that day is to bring back the presence of God into Washington, D.C. So I think that that's really important to understand. And I want people to take heart and to know that that every footstep that you took and every place that you walked, and whether it was inside the Capitol or on the Capitol grounds or on Pennsylvania Avenue or on the mall, all over Washington, D.C., that place has been claimed for Almighty God. I know that there are people who are saying that it should be taken down, that it should be raised, and that kind of thing. I don't actually believe that, because the things that the devil has stolen actually belong to you, to me. You are over all things, not under them. And so the devil is under your feet. So think about that and remember that. And, if you, it is important that people understand what is going on. And president knows, he may not have been able to vocalize that, but in his heart of hearts, he is seeking God, and he knows the power of the people and the power of Holy Spirit in the people of God. And there were hundreds of thousands of people there, and I think it's safe to say that many of those people walk with God. And that's one of the reasons that the president wanted people to be there. And there were people all over the world praying and covering that event in prayer. And there were angels all around. They still are. And so, do not think that was for nothing. That's part of my message today, is that I want you to understand that it's not for nothing. And so just be aware of that. It's Joshua 1:3, where the Lord says, "Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given to you, just as I promised to Moses." Thank you for putting that in the chat. And so that's important. And the president will be vindicated. You will be vindicated. And I really want to stress that. And I'm here today to tell you that a broken record. I was really encouraged yesterday when I was in Telegram, and something was brought to my attention about a specific social media channel that I believe is actually being, I believe there are messages being dropped there by our favorite letter of the alphabet. And I'm not going to get too specific about it because I don't want it to get taken down, but I will tell you that it's pretty interesting and pretty ingenious how it's being done, because so many people have been censored and so many people are trying to vilify and cancel anybody that is holding out any hope, and and telling you that President Trump is not defeated. He's the president. He's the rightful, lawful president, and I will never back down from saying that. And so what I found was that there's a specific social media channel that is flying under the radar, and that is giving people messages, and it's a verified individual, and I put two and two together, and some other people have done that as well. But they're putting messages to the people in the chat on this social media channel, and it's pretty cool because it I'm going to read you some of the messages. And if you're in my Telegram room, you probably caught on to what I'm talking about. But again, I'm intentionally being under the radar here because I just want to make sure that yeah, I don't want it to get taken down. Okay. So 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 here's some examples. Okay. Uh, DJT has not stopped working for us since post White House. Okay. The best is yet to come is a promise, not just a quote. The best is yet to come is a promise, not just a quote. Um, the okay. When the time is right, Mogul on Don Jr. Telegram just to say hi soon. Mogul is the Secret Service code word for our president. Okay, so all right. We'll be follow Don Jr. on Telegram regarding all future 45 socials. This is important to understand because I've been telling you this. Anybody that tells you that the president is starting a political party or a social network or an app or anything like that, you need to be following Don Jr. You need to get on his come from him or Dan, who are just pushing and pushing and pushing fake news. So just be aware of that. And they want you to jump on. They want you to jump on all these platforms. They want to get your information, your email address, et cetera, et cetera. So just take that to the bank. Listen to Don Jr. He's going to tell you when the time is right, and when it's time for Dad to come on and say hi to the people. He's going to do that on Don Jr.'s Telegram. So if you're not on Telegram, I urge you to be there. You need to get the Telegram app and get on Telegram. And they're not gonna, nobody can see your information on Telegram when you put your number in. Only people that already have you in their contact list. And the other thing about Telegram is that if you get on Telegram, please take a few minutes to learn how it works. It's a little bit different from Twitter or Facebook. For example, when you reply to somebody on Telegram in a thread, you swipe right so that people can see who you're replying to. That's kind of a big deal. And then also make sure you're looking for the pinned posts in the top of the Telegram room, because people come in and ask questions, and a lot of times the answer to your question is already pinned by the host of the channel. Also, don't spam somebody else's channel with your links. So if you're invited to a chat, a private chat, and you have a lot to share, you need to start your own channel so that you can share all of your links and not take over somebody else's channel. That's sort of like Telegram etiquette. Okay. Let me get back to what I was saying. And so this person also says make sure that you are um, make sure that you are using TinEye to verify images. Um, Swipe left on Telegram. Make sure you're using TinEye to verify images. A lot of people are putting up pictures that are deep fakes. They're telling you that certain things are happening. They're trying to get people in a frenzy over things. So this person is telling you to use TinEye. Make sure that these photos are authentic when people are posting stuff on social media. Don't be sharing a bunch of junk that is actually meant to make you look stupid. Okay, so what is the other thing? The other thing they say. Let me get you to another image here. Uh, okay, the last 4 years were not just for this. Okay, if I mention something that you don't know how to use, that's what the Google is for. So you guys figure it out. TinEye. Go on YouTube, go on Google and figure it out and help each other. All right. So help each other. We're in this together. Okay. So he says, this person says, the last 4 years were not just for this. All right. This meaning this entire ridiculous tin I tin I. It's a program. Trump is not on Twitter. Trump is not on Twitter. Repeat, Trump is not on Twitter. People have sent me things and they're telling me that it's Trump's Twitter account. Trump is not on Twitter. This person that I'm referring to right now is authentic. Okay? So you need to believe that. 2 terms. Okay, so again, this person is posting all of this in comments on this social media channel, and I'm not going to announce it on my show. If you're in my Telegram, you probably saw me post something about it. Okay, another reason to get on Telegram. Everybody should be on Telegram because people are writing to me and they're like, "How do I find you? How do I find you?" I have a Telegram channel. I post stuff on there. All right. So the only thing I post on my Facebook, by the way, is my show. So if you're looking for stuff on Facebook, it's not there. It's on Telegram because I'm not on Twitter. I used to post on Twitter all the time. Julia, how do we know this person is authentic? Because I've been doing this long enough that I know. So if you trust me, then trust that I'm telling you that this person is authentic. That's all I can tell you. I've been in this fight for a long time, and I know how to. I have discernment on this. Okay, um, and I have other sources backing me up on this. Okay, so okay, so 2 terms. All right. Um, Justice will be served. Yes. Justice will be served. Yes. All right. Help each other out with questions about specific programs and apps and things like that. Okay. I've got a lot of questions here and I've explained a lot of this already. So, people in the chat, so that I don't get my thoughts interrupted, please, uh, please answer them. Answer these questions. They're asking where my Telegram is, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Okay. So, okay, so follow Don Jr. on Telegram. The best is yet to come is a promise. It's not just a quote. Uh, Okay, this person is in New York City. This person also posted a location marker this morning, and it stayed up for about 15 seconds, and I got a screenshot of it. And when I cross-referenced the location marker, it was Trump Tower in New York. So I'm paying attention. Um, yeah. So it's Mary Grace Media official. That's my Telegram channel. All right. Let me see what else I saw on there. All right. Okay. Most weeks have been boom weeks lately. Most weeks have been boom weeks lately. Most can't hear though. And this was posted on the 31st of January. So think about that. People are sitting here and they're getting in despair and they're thinking nothing is happening, and oh my goodness, how is this being allowed? How is this person being allowed to do what he's doing? How is this fake president being allowed to get away with what he's getting away with? I've told you from the very beginning that things had to play out a certain way, and just because you're not seeing it happen doesn't mean it's not happening. So just remember that. Just because you're not seeing it happen doesn't mean it's not happening. And here's another one. DJT. DJT is putting in the same amount of hours for us now that he did in the White House. He's getting the same amount of sleep because why? Promises made. Boom, boom, boom. Promises kept. I told you he's not walking away from a fight. He's not a quitter. I told you this. So, okay. Don't mistake silence for inactivity. Don't mistake silence for inactivity. Vicky has a question on YouTube, and I would say that assuming that that military insider is more than just one person, the answer is yes. Um, okay. So, and then they posted, this was in a late night chat, midnight riders. Who has used that term? Again, you can choose what you want to believe, but like I said, I've been doing this long enough to know that what I'm seeing is from somebody real. Okay. So just, again, if you're in my Telegram chat, you would have seen what I've been posting. And so I'm just being very careful about this because I just want to make sure that people are that it doesn't get taken down, right? There's a reason that they're going under the radar the way they are. And there's a reason that they're messaging the way that they are. And so just be aware of that. Okay. Another thing, if you are joining Telegram, is that you can search any Telegram channel for a keyword or term. You can go to the top and so just go on YouTube and take a little tutorial on how to work Telegram so that you can get the most out of it. And I have my Telegram chat is private, but if you go on if you get on my email list, you're going to get a link to that. All right. So go to my website, marygracemedia.com, wait for the pop-up, get on my email list, you'll get the information. All right. So how's everybody feeling? It's pretty good. It's pretty exciting, isn't it? Now, YouTube question, should we follow the news one and the chat one? Yeah, so what I do is I post things on Mary Grace Media official, and then there's a private chat. I don't have my Telegram chat open to the public. You have to ask for that link because I don't want to get spammed. And that's why I'm very careful, and I delete things that people put in the chat. I'm just letting you know it's not personal. People share crazy things in my Telegram chat. And so I want you to be aware. It's sort of like, how would I say it? if somebody starts their own Telegram chat, be mindful about, and then you can invite people to see your channel. And if you want me to post your channel, find it. All right. So, Julia, I think that you can. I think sometimes people do answer those questions. Okay. So, pretty cool. Now, I wanted to tell you something that I saw because I told you that this is a time to get a little bit more quiet and to really start listening to God and prepare. Because in a way, our president is on vacation, even though he's working hard. He's actually he's working, but he's on a vacation from the day to day, just getting bombarded and pummeled by the media, for example. And because he's not posting at all, it's a vacation for him. It's also a little bit of a vacation for people like me who have spent a lot of time really deep in the trenches. And so I've been encouraging people to really just get quiet and to take this time to get ready, to get refreshed, to hear God and to be ready for the next phase of this. And one of the things that I've remarked on before is that one of the things I've remarked on is that the last 5 years have been such a big fight. I mean, we've really been fighting. And it felt to me like we were campaigning for 5 straight years and being attacked the whole time. And especially for people like me, for people like Ann Vandersteel, Praying Medic, people who have been really on the front lines here of broadcasting and can't literally campaigning and trying to get the news out and to keep the morale up, to rally the troops, to teach people, to do all of that. Those of us who've been doing that, it really feels like we've been campaigning for 5 years. So I'm actually welcoming the break just a little bit, and so I'm going to make a note here. Yeah. So I've been happy to have that break, and I've just been hearing from God. And personally, I think that I wasn't quite sure what the next 4 to 8 years was going to be like in terms of, how hard it was going to be, how much fighting we're going to have to keep doing, fighting off the fake news, fighting off the people that supposedly hate us, et cetera, et cetera. And I was listening last week to Elijah Streams, and he had a man on there called Jeff Jansen. I think that's his name, and I had never heard him before. And he was giving such an encouraging message. Elijah Streams is broadcasting on YouTube if you want to go find it. They have Kat Kerr on, they had Amanda Grace on, a lot of really very strong and grounded prophetic people. So this man was on and he was talking about just the great things to come. And he is unwavering in his conviction that there will be 4 more years of Trump and that our president is the legal um, president, legally elected. And so he was talking about how many good things God has coming for us. And I was getting pretty excited because I believe that. And when I was listening to that, God reminded me of the trip that President Trump took to India. Who remembers that? Who of you remember when President Trump went to India last year? It was in February. It was almost exactly a year ago. Do you remember that? And it was right before they declared the pandemic. Um, and so it was right before they declared the pandemic. Well, the crazy thing about it is, if you remember, the president went to meet with Prime Minister Modi, and I told everybody that I thought that part of the reason he was there was to break up with China and start doing trade deals with India, and I still believe that. I don't think that's over. But when the president arrived in India, the thing that really stood out was it was a couple of things, and God reminded me of this. One is that Prime Minister Modi met the president at the plane, and he ran up to him and gave him a hug. And this is unusual. It's unusual because, the prime minister is the prime minister. He's the leader of that country. And it was kind of undignified. Um, but it was heartfelt, and it really showed the world how much how loved President Trump is. And I think that's significant. And then President Trump got in the motorcade, and he was driving along, and he went for miles and miles and miles and miles. And as you're watching here, guys, I'm very sorry if there's a lag. Again, I've got issues with my computer, and so I'm working on that, and I apologize. So let me get back to what I was saying. So the motorcade, and please pray that this, because every time I talk about something that the Lord is saying, the lag happens. And so as you're praying and interceding, please pray that this doesn't get interrupted, because that's what happened last time, and we're just not going to receive it in Jesus' name. We're going to keep talking. I'm going to give you the message from the Lord, and he wants everybody to hear. So I just pray and cover my computer right now in Jesus' name. So what I was going to say is that the motorcade went on for miles. And if you remember the things that were happening this summer for President Trump when he was going to his rallies, people would line the streets. I mean, people lined the streets. MAGA people even lined the streets on the way to Biden rallies because there was nobody to see Biden. And so there was this excitement. Well, in India, it went on for miles, miles and miles and miles. And the people were literally dancing in the streets because uh, President Trump was coming to see them, and it was pure celebration. It was so exciting, and it was like nothing we've even seen in this country. And then he went to the world's largest cricket stadium. It holds 100,000 people. So think about that. And he was welcomed like a king in that country. Everywhere President Trump has been, he has been welcomed with open arms because they love him so much. And so this is exciting, and it's important for people to understand because he's so loved. And this is what the Lord reminded me of. And he told me, when what is coming for this nation and for the world is that times thousands. He said, when the president, when this is over sooner than you think, and when the president comes back into his rightful place, the people of this country and the world are going to be spilling into the streets. We're going to have that level of excitement and celebration and joy. Think about that. It gives me chills just telling you this because it's true. And and if you go back and you think about everything, all the boat parades and the people lining the streets, God said it's going to be more than that. It's going to be even more than that. People are going to be weeping in the streets for joy. They're going to come from hill and dale to celebrate our president, neighbor with neighbor. And the barriers that we've had between people because of the fake news telling you that you're supposed to hate your neighbor, that's going to be gone. And the people are going to be celebrating. And then he told me, he said what you saw in America over the last year was anticipation. What I'm showing you now is celebration. There's a difference. So all the people who line the streets looking for the president and waiting for him to do a rally, and campaigning for him and things like that, that was anticipation. What God is showing me now is celebration. And he showed me the picture of India because the people of India were celebrating our president. And that was just a small taste of what's to come. And so I want you to get excited. If you've been listening to Kat Kerr, Katkerr, she has been saying, eat cake, celebrate. And she's been seeing that. God takes her in the spirit into the future. He shows her things. He shows her what's to come. He shows her how, he shows her really what's happening. And so when she says that, it's not just that she's imagining it, it's because God actually shows her. And so I want you to get excited and really start declaring and believing and celebrating in your heart, because this is coming. And that night I I actually had a dream. And in the dream, I saw the National Guard, and it was a whole company of National Guard, and they were having the biggest party. And um, they had a they had one of their people that was crowd surfing, and they were throwing them up. It was one of the soldiers. They were throwing up one of the soldiers like a rag doll. That's how much they were celebrating. It was just sheer celebration and joy and cheering. And everybody was happy. Everybody was participating. Nobody was hanging back. And that's what I saw. And then when I woke up, the Lord said one word to me, and that is celebrate. And so that is what I wanted to tell you today, because this is exciting and this is where God is taking us as a country. And you might be hearing people who are telling you that this is the end, that our country is headed to death and destruction, and that there's massive judgment coming on the country, and that this is God's answer because people didn't pray enough or fast enough or anything like that. And I don't believe that. And and that's not what I'm hearing, and that's not what I'm seeing. And that's not what the prophets are saying. And so if you are hearing that, turn it off. Do not agree with that. And so it's extremely exciting. It's very exciting. It's party time. And our president is getting refreshed. Our president is getting renewed. Our president, and he is renewed by your prayers. I will tell you that. He is renewed by your celebration and by you keeping your morale up. Because the last thing the president needs is for the people of God and the people of this country to go around, biting each other and fighting and being in a bad mood and prophesying doom and gloom over this country. He has put in 4 solid years as the president, and he doesn't need for your attitude to undermine what he's doing. And those people who are saying that the president walked away and that he left this fight, then they don't know the president. They don't have any idea um, who he is and how he operates, because the the person that we saw for the last 4 years, and the person that we've known, and the way that he's done business and the way that he's recovered. I mean, this is a man who has been bankrupt several times and who has come back from bankruptcy. And there are people who will tell you that like it's a bad thing. And it's not. It means that he's a fighter. This is a man who will not give up the fight. And he has told you that over and over and over. He doesn't have respect for people who give up, who quit. And so right now, your job is to stay in this fight. And I'm admonishing you, I'm encouraging you, because the victory is coming. And this is not just pie in the sky. This is character right now. You are being called on to mind the depths of your character and to mind the depths of God's goodness, and to know that his best for this country has yet to come. And that is what our president tells us. The best is yet to come. And I was and when I was writing all this down, I was reminded of Psalm 126, and this is what it says. It says, "When the Lord brought back the captive ones of Zion, we were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter and our tongue with joyful singing. Then they said among the nations, the Lord has done great things for them. The Lord has done great things for us. We are glad." Restore our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. Those who sow in tears shall reap with joyful shouting. He who goes to and fro weeping, carrying his bag of seed, shall indeed come again with a shout of joy, bringing his sheaves with him. And that is the message that God has for you and for me today, because this story is so far from being over, and God has so many good things for our country. And the thing that he wants you to understand is that this is a God story. This is a story that the whole world will look at this and say, God did this, because it's not only God's will for America to prosper, it's God's will for all people to prosper and to be in good health and for their soul to prosper. And so for God to do this story, for God to do the impossible, that is the story that he's showing us right now. And if you think about this, you think about what has happened so far. You think about all the impossibles that Donald Trump has done and that God has enabled him to do. I mean, think about the fact that he walked across the DMZ into North Korea, and he's the first president ever to do that. Even if he didn't do anything else in his entire presidency, think about that. But that's not all he did. He moved the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. He got the embassy out of the hands of the deep state and put it into the rightful place that God declared it at the beginning of time. I mean, there's so many things that he did, so many things, and it was done because God, because of God, but God, because of God. And this is so important that people understand this, because it's not just the story of Donald Trump. It's the story of God choosing a man who would in the natural it, that it whose story in the natural was impossible. And he took this man and he brought him into a position that nobody thought could ever happen. Everybody laughed when people said that Donald J. Trump was going to be president, and they dismissed him, and they made his story, they made him the media darling, because they truly believed that by elevating him, it would take the attention off of serious contenders for the presidency. I don't know if you know that. That's how he got so much airtime, because they wanted to position him as a buffoon and take attention away from people that they thought were serious contenders. And it backfired on them. That's because only God could do that. Because God took their intention and their plan for evil and he turned it around for good every single time. So think about that. This is the journey that we're on. And it is a journey of impossibilities. That is what God wants you to see here. And when Trump first met with Kim Jong Un, I just remembered this, that when he signed the agreement in Singapore, I believe it was, when he first met publicly with him and they were walking away from the table, Kim Jong Un put his hand on Donald J. Trump's arm. I don't know if you recall that, and it was remarkable because in their culture, you don't really do that. You don't touch people like that, especially in public. And this is the leader of North Korea putting his hand on the arm of the president of the United States, who's supposed to be their arch enemy. And they've just signed an agreement. And when he did that, the Lord said to me, Donald Trump is a father of nations. And I've talked about this before, but I think that what you're going to see come out of this next 4 years and out of the next couple of months, even, you're going to see God positioning him in a place where he's going to govern with even more authority and wisdom and temperance than he did before, especially because he's not going to be fighting at the level that he had to fight before, because a lot of what we're seeing right now is the roots getting torn out from under the deep state. And so the tooth and nail fighting that the president had to do pretty much, I mean, it was like a cage match every single day. with him in the White House for the last 4 years, I believe that the Lord is removing a lot of that. And so the president is going to be coming back into office for the next 4 years as really more of a father of this nation and the nations. And this is what God is showing me. And you don't have to believe me, uh, but I've seen a lot, and God has shown me a lot, and He's given me a lot of insight into Trump and what He's doing with Trump. And so take it for what you will, take it in prayer, and just really seek God on these things, because I believe that this is what's coming, and it's very exciting, don't you think? I mean, it's really good news. And the other thing that I think is going to be happening is that people are going to see just who Trump is, and they're going to have the veil lifted. They're going to have the orange man bad glasses removed, and they're going to be able to see him for who he is. People who thought they hated him, who didn't understand really who he is, and it's not going to be that hard to show people. It's not going to be as hard to red pill people as it was before. Because the truth is, this person that they put in office now is blackpilling a lot of people, and he's red pilling people in the process because of the things that he's doing. It's so destructive, and he's destroying people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on. It's just he is on a path of destruction. And so that's my word for you today. And somebody had okay, somebody had a word about that, or somebody had a question about Patrick Byrne and the things that Patrick Byrne wrote. He wrote, I think, a four-part story about the people who didn't help the president, and the people around the president who weren't on his side. I think that I would. I know that Patrick Byrne has legitimacy, and that he's worked really hard, and that a lot of people around the president have worked really hard to help him. And I think what's going to come out is that that wasn't the path that could be taken at the time. And I think that we're gonna come out to the other side of Patrick Byrne's story, which I think is valid, and that he's telling the truth about a lot of the things that he's pointing out. Um, but but what I think about Patrick Byrne's story, because other people are telling the same story. I know people personally who were in the room when Patrick Byrne was describing some of the things that he described, and those things are accurate. But what I think is that not everybody has the whole story, and not everybody is privy to what is going on right now. And so the solutions that have been offered up until this point could not be applied yet. And so just be patient and allow this to play out in the way that it has to play out. So, whoever asked that question about Patrick Byrne, I hope that gives you some peace of mind about this. And a person who asked me, in your lifetime, have you ever received premonitions like this before? Yes. Yeah, the Holy Spirit shows me things. And if you've been following me and listening to me for the past couple of years, there's a lot that God has shown me. And so, so it is we're in a good place. And then I also, like I said, I have sources that I talk to. Some, I don't have people who are with the president every day, but I have sources that are close enough that the things that I'm telling you, I I understand enough, um, to know that I'm not leading you down the garden path. Okay. I would caution against people who are telling you that they're getting messages directly from Trump's team or the military, or they're getting intel about timelines and things like that, because the things that are happening right now and the sources that I'm in touch with, um, nobody is getting told. Nobody is getting a timeline. Nobody is being given exact details about what is coming. So So just be aware of that, because this is a very, very high level operation. Our country's at war. And so the war council, what's going on in a secret war council will never be broadcast, even to quote insiders. So just be aware of that. Okay. Be aware of that. And I think that's somebody's asking about Juan oh 07. Um, I'm still, I like Juan. I like listening to him. My I'm not quite sure. I think that I believe what he's saying about some of the time frame, that the way things are playing out really aren't going to come into light until maybe next month or the month after. But again, he doesn't know for sure. And some of the things that you're hearing and seeing are disinformation. For example, when General Flynn says there is no plan, just think about this. Even if he knew there was a plan, why would he say there is? That's not what you do. I mean, the president has told us time and time and time again that he will never broadcast, uh, that he will never broadcast what he's doing. He said that from the very beginning. All right. And so yeah, he's not gonna give dates. Okay. And so just be aware of that. And then, there is disinformation. So remember that some of the disinformation is meant to bring to flush people out. Sometimes things have to be put in place, and actions have to be completed in order to draw more people out into the open. And one of the things that I think is happening right now, I'm going a little bit long and I do need to stop soon, but the one of the things that I think is happening right now is that the people who committed this crime, who literally stole an election, they were allowed to carry it through to completion. And and in a way, it was almost too easy. You've got the media telling you that the courts wouldn't hear the cases, that all the cases were thrown out, that they didn't have any evidence, that they got their guy sworn in, and that that he's now in office and he's writing executive orders, and they got all their people that they want in all these positions, and they're in control of everything. They're running the world. And if you're the person if you're the person that committed that crime, and really what would be like the greatest heist in human history, and you go from January, or from November 3rd to January 20th, 21st, and yeah, there was pushback, but nothing really ever came of it. Nobody got arrested, nobody's being interrogated that we know of, on that side, right? Like, all your people are still there, and things are going along swimmingly, allegedly. If you're that person, if you're those people, and you think that you got away with that crime, what is your life like right now? And then you think that the person you defeated just slinked away. Because if Trump's supporters think that he just walked away from the fight and gave up, what do you think his enemies think? He just went away. He's just playing golf. That's what they think. So if you're the person that allegedly got away with that crime, are you checking your back seat before you get in the car? Are you, like, wondering if somebody might be in your house when you get in the house? Like, are you wondering, like, when the jig is up, like, wouldn't you be worried? Wouldn't you be watching your back? Wouldn't you be wondering, like, how did we get away with this? Like, it's almost too easy. Am I the only one that thinks that? I mean, because remember what I said, quiet Trump is scary Trump. If you're that person, if you're those people that got away with that, and the person that had the most power on the planet to stop you walked away without stopping you, wouldn't you be thinking something's up? Wouldn't you be thinking like something's about come, I'd be worried. I don't know about you. I mean, I'd be thinking like whenever about what's coming and that you got away with it too easily. History of mankind was way too easy to get away with. And if you doubt me, why do you think they're still obsessed with him? I mean, they still have TBS. They talk about him all the time. And they're trying to, they're trying to be like him. They put this woman in the in the press secretary position that's, like the ginger version of our girl Kaylee. And she can't even get the right notebook, with page protectors. Like they're frazzled, these people. They can't handle it. And so I'm just thinking it's going to be very interesting. You know, they're not sleeping good at night. Do you think they're sleeping good at night? Do you think the people that committed this crime are having a good night's sleep every night? What do you think? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. So I don't know. But if you're just coming to my broadcast, I'm Mary Grace. This is Mary Grace Media, and you are you're listening to Real Talk with Mary Grace. And I want to remind you to make sure that you're following and subscribing. So if you're on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up. That really helps. Please leave comments when you come back for the replay. That helps. Please leave relevant comments, and also on Facebook. And if you come back to the Facebook, if you come back to the Facebook to watch it, please share it in a group, because it really does help. And they're sort of suppressing the algorithm right now because they figured out that people want to hear what I have to say. And make sure you're following me also on Clout Hub, which is channel 111. I know that their platform isn't perfect. They're working on it. And also, if you're looking for Praying Medic, he is on Clout Hub, and he also has a website, prayingmedic.com, and he's working on getting his books so that you can order directly from the website. So people have been asking about him. And make sure that you're following my Telegram channel, which is Mary Grace Media Official, and it's on Telegram. You have to get the Telegram app and then go Google it and go do their tutorials and learn how to make the most of Telegram. They actually have tutorials on Telegram, and learn how to use it so that you are not asking me all the time how to use it. I'm not a pro at Telegram, but just do a little tutorial and learn how to use it. It's a little bit different. And I am on Gab. I am on Instagram, and I'm at Mary Grace Media. So hey, Marianne on Facebook. So please just make sure you're following me on all of those platforms, and make sure you go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and wait for the pop up and join my mailing list so that you can get all of my links. And that way you're on my list and you know where to find me if I get taken off of any of these platforms, so that you don't have to wait weeks and weeks and weeks to hear from me again. And you don't have to send me an email and say, where are you? So please make sure you get on Clout Hub and Gab. And at some point, I will be posting there more. I'm having a little bit of withdrawals from Twitter because I really like posting on Twitter. And yeah, somebody's telling Todd to watch the tutorial. Yeah, my wingman needs to watch the tutorial. He's terrible on Telegram. So don't learn from him. Let's see. I'm going to be back on tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and Clout Hub. There's something else about Telegram where I can actually run a live chat on my channel, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that because it keeps telling me that I'm not allowed. But there are some Telegram channels where you can join the live chat. So it's sort of like what we have now, and I can just dialogue with everybody. The other thing too, when you go on Telegram, is you can go back and listen to all of my little voice messages that I put in the channel. So just play around with it And, because sometimes I'll just drop a little voice message of things that I'm thinking about. So if you miss hearing from Mary Grace throughout the day, if you're on the Telegram channel, you'll actually get my messages in the chat. So there's that. Uh, let's see. Um, I like Gab, but I haven't had much luck getting it to load very well. And so I'm sort of waiting for them to get their server issues straightened out because I only have so much time in the day. And every time I try to read something on Gab, it's like I'm waiting for it to load. I'm waiting. They just need to get some things worked out, and then I'll be active on Gab. I just can't be active on something that doesn't load for me. And so that's my story. Make sure that you check in with me and send me an email, info@marygracemedia.com, so that you can get a voucher to get your superfoods. I have people who are sending me stories every single day about how these superfoods are changing their life. If you write to me, you're going to get a voucher to save $100 off of retail of a full month's supply of your transformation, of your superfoods transformation. This is kind of a big deal. Delia has lost 60 pounds. People are finding that their inflammation goes down. People who have autoimmune conditions are really benefiting from this. If you have diabetes, there are a lot of benefits, especially with just balancing your blood sugar. I'm not making any medical claims. I'm just letting you know that I hear stories all the time of people who tell me they've tried everything and this is the one thing that's actually making a difference for them. And that's a huge testimony. So again, and I have people who are really into organic, they're into green foods, they're into smoothies, they make their own organic foods, and this is so much easier, and you're getting the world's best non-GMO green organic foods delivered right to your door. And it's probably one of the easiest ways that I've ever found to make a health reset or transformation in your life. And so don't wait. We have a transformation group that's starting tonight. If you join our transformation, you get access to all the replays of our coaching calls that we did during the month of January. You get access to a private telegram group and a private Facebook group. That group has over 1,000 members, so you can connect with like-minded people. You get recipes, you get food lists. It's pretty much the easiest thing you can do, and you're getting really the best nutrition on the planet in a very easy to consume format. So make sure you write to me. Info@marygracemedia.com. Bonnie just said her husband's reflux went away. Yeah, see, I hear stories about that all the time. Neuropathy. People who have neuropathy, they tell me that this really helps. I think because your circulation gets better, right? Same thing with blood sugar. If you struggle with low blood sugar, high blood sugar, imbalance, and things like that, um, this is really helpful. So make sure you write to me, info@marygracemedia.com. I'll slow that down, info@marygracemedia.com, and get your voucher. So I will see everybody tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern. And remember, if you've been thinking about ordering the superfoods, this is the time to do it because I'm going to put your name in a drawing if you order the pack that I'm giving you the voucher for. And so make sure you do that, and then just write to me and tell me that you did it. And you're gonna order it, and then you're gonna set up your loyalty program, and that's all explained in the email, and then you'll get in the drawing. So I'll see everybody tomorrow at 5 Eastern right here on these live channels, and I hope everybody has a good evening.